Welcome to the Capoeira Experience podcast, where you are going to learn how capoeiristas got where they are, how they keep the motivation, why they do what they do, and even how they do business through capoeira. I hope you enjoy it and learn something from their experience. What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. I'm your host, Instructor Kashishi. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much again to all the Capoeira community that keeps supporting the podcast. Thanks to you is because I'm doing this to motivate a little bit more the Capoeira community and to interact a little bit more with all the Capoeira community. Doesn't matter where you're from, but most important, I hope you enjoy me. You join me one of these days to do the interview. So on today's episode, I have the pleasure to interview another female capoeirista with a really awesome voice. I really hope you can sing a little music for us here. She started capoeira in 2000 and in 2004 in California. Her first class was fun and a full of energy with really good capoeiristas. Her first class was with a wonderful Mestre Amen. I'm pretty sure a bunch of you guys know who he is. If you're not, we're gonna kick you. And Contra Mestre
Be the
Jirafa.
strong, right?
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
the strong.
And Contra Mestre Jirafa. And since then, she fell in love with capoeira, especially with the capoeira music. So she joined her group since then. And I want to introduce you to Professora Saehee from Capoeira Batuque, Los Angeles. How you doing?
Hi. Wow. Thank you for that great introduction.
Of course. Like I love our capoeira community, and everyone has a special spot in the podcast.
For
Thank you so
sure.
much for being here with us.
Of course. Thanks for interviewing me. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. So before we jump into everything, what are your social medias and how people can find you?
Well, I am not as well. I am. I think my Instagram is mostly mauve. The people are trying to tell me to change that name to make it something capoeira related. I haven't done it yet, so I am not super into social media. But you can find me on Instagram. It's uh, mostly mauve, one word, or you
Okay,
can also find me on Facebook.
with the same.
Or you can just put my name, which is really difficult to spell. It's
Okay,
Saehee, spelled Saeehee, and my last name is Kim, Kim.
nice. There you go. Nah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna start following you.
Oh,
So
cool.
nice. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who is Professor Asei? Who are you in the capoeira community?
In the capoeira community, well, as you were telling me, as you were saying in your introduction, I studied capoeira sometime in 2004. Just randomly, me and my friend went to take a class, and it was with Capoeira Batuque, and it was taught by Contra Mestre Girafa. At the time, he was a professor,
Nice.
and he was. And our Mestre Ameng, was trying to promote his class, and he was visiting Professor Girafa's class, and it was just like this awesome class. And ever since then, I've been training on and off. There was like a 2 year period that I took a break, but capoeira has definitely been, you know, something that I've had to own up to,
Nice.
and something that has given me a platform to just carry on my life. So it is just like any other capoeirista would say, an amazing and a huge part of my life. A practice that allows me to express a lot of my passions. And yeah, without capoeira, I don't even know where I would be. So that is capoeira for me. And like you said, I mean, I did fall in love with the musical aspect of it. I think, if somebody would have said that I was going to be into martial art when I was, I don't know, so if somebody would have said that to me when I was younger, I probably would have laughed because it's not really something that I was interested in. But because capoeira has so many different elements to it, obviously music, it has so much culture and history, and the language and the songs, and so much history is passed on. I think that's what I love about it. That is such a complete, not just a martial arts, not just a physical thing. It's a spiritual practice as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot of stuff connected to this.
yeah. So I mean, that's what I think of capoeira. Capoeira to me is it's allows me to also be in a spiritual place with myself.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and as far as like my level and like what I've been doing in my own community. I received my professor level recently in 2016, and I have been teaching the music classes at the Batuque main studio, which is in Los Angeles,
Nice.
for many years. So that was passed on to me. First, I started to take those music classes. It was first, I'm sure it was Mestre Ameng, and then Contramestre Muito Tempo, who is also very well known, right, in the capoeira community. He took that on, and then that was eventually passed on to Professora Mia Velha, and then eventually she couldn't do it, so she passed it on to me. So
Oh, nice.
right, so we used to have these music classes every Friday, and it just kind of was something that we did, all of us. And right now we're not teaching that class at the moment, but it's gonna come back soon. But I've been teaching that class for many years at our studio here in Los Angeles.
That's really cool. So when you start in capoeira, was the music the first thing that you said like, oh my God, I love this?
I think so. I think it was just kind of like, the energy, and like it was like this music that you could totally just kind of be absorbed by, like the drums and the singing, and but I also did like the physical aspect of it, and I did like how you just have to like focus and just practice these
Yeah.
moves and just kind of like be in tune with your body. And I didn't know any of the moves. It was completely foreign to me. It was kind of a dance and kind of a martial art, but I really loved the movement, how everything looks very graceful, but at the same time is dangerous. But I would say that the first
Yeah.
thing that kind of captured my heart was the music.
That's awesome. Who was the first person that you heard singing in the Hoda
I
or
probably
on
my
your
own
class?
group. Yeah, my own group. It was Mestre Ameng and some of the
Nice.
high courts in my school. Yeah.
That's awesome. I always saw videos of Mr. Amen singing. I'm like, God, I wanna be on that Hoda. I wanna listen his voice like in person.
Yeah, I mean, Mestre Ameng definitely brings that ashe, especially when he's on the drum, and he can play the berimbau forever and ever, and he can just bring it. I think like when it comes to like capoeira music, whether it's singing or playing any other instruments, just like I say, bring it. Like bringing that
Yeah.
ashe and like keeping that energy. That's what's important. You don't have to be the best singer. You don't have to have like the nicest voice or the strongest voice, but it's about bringing that ashe and that dende. And yeah, Maestra Mek definitely has it.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell because in those videos, is a one of the first videos of I saw of him. He's in this Hoda. Is like the song like bye 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 kai beleza beleza. I
Yeah.
heard that song now. I start getting like goosebumps. I'm like, oh God, that song is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what it is. Like when you get those goosebumps when you hear it,
Yeah,
when you're in the hood and you're feeling it, and like that energy is moving you. It's such an amazing feeling. Um,
yeah.
and I think in order to bring that, you have to carry it. You have
Oh, for
to
sure.
like know the history. You have to understand so many different things that go on in the hoda. Besides just the practice. And no, it's
Yeah.
No, it is. It's amazing to have to be in a roda with that kind of music and that kind of ashe. Come through sometime.
Yeah, yeah, I
We have,
want to.
yeah, we have a big bachizado happening this summer.
Okay.
Our 30th. So if you can make it, you should come through.
That is June, right?
In at the end of yes, at the last week of June.
Oh, cool. That's actually the day of my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, I can be like, it's my birthday.
There you go.
Yeah, nice. And so I think this is that your name or is your nickname?
So Saehee's my real name.
Okay.
Is the name that was given to me by my parents. I don't really have a nickname. It's kind of an ongoing thing with my master. Like I've gotten a lot of different nicknames from different people, but none that have really stuck.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a brat in that way. I just chose not to use any of the bad names that I got.
But
But
it's pretty cool though. What your does your name has a meaning?
my real name, it has meaning. It could be different meanings, like because is a Korean name and it has,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and it has each character could have different meanings. One of the meanings that I like to use is a new happiness, but
That's awesome.
yeah, but yeah.
But I can tell. I can tell it's pretty good. That I really like it.
Cool, thanks.
No problem.
It's a hard name. I mean, it's a hard name to. I have to spell it out for people every time, and but I think there's a little bit of of an annoying but empowering thing at the same time to carry on a name that was given to you that is of a foreign language
Yeah.
and just carry it, and not make it easy for everybody else. This is my name, so even if I have to correct people or I have to spell it out 300 times, like this is my name.
Yeah. Or it's the same like when I pronounce mine, I think it's because my accent, because my real name is Harley. Then
Hmm.
I have to say Harley like the Harley Davidson so people understand. Because
Hmm.
sometimes they like Hardy or like it's Harley or I don't know. But
Hmm.
I always have to like repeat my name. And
Yep.
now, what is one thing that you say that capoeira help you in your life, in your entire life?
Mm. I think, I mean, one thing, mm, I would say it gives me, like I said, kind of a platform to see myself go through the ups and downs.
Nice.
Obviously, there's going to be all sorts of ups and downs in life, but um, not, I kind of think of ups and downs not so much as like down being like a bad time and up being a good time. It's more like, you practice something and you master it, you practice
Yeah.
something and you fall and then you get up, there's
Yeah.
a constant up and down. And I think not just the game of capoeira, I think just me as a capoeirista, it's always kind of like, it's like an up and down motion. And I have to be okay with that, that
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm really like in a kind of when I have fallen, um, there's no other place than go up from there. So
Yeah,
I'm looking
exactly.
forward to that. And when I'm like feeling really good about myself, I know that I'm still going to go up and down, So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
up and down journey. And so I like that. I like it that I can measure myself growing
Nice.
in the art form,
Yeah.
um, and see myself just go through my ups and downs.
That's awesome. Yeah, how I like to see it is like, well, you take the hashtera. It's like playing the harder. You take the hashtera, you fall, shake your pants, and come back to play berimbau and start playing again.
Yeah, so it keeps me humble in a way.
Yeah,
It keeps
yeah,
me
same.
humble and it keeps me aware of my own growth. So that's what I like about capoeira for my own life.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. That's one of the things too that helped me. Capoeira helped me to change and to understand myself. I guess if we can call it like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how do you think since you've been doing capoeira for 14 years now, right? Is it
Hmm.
14? If the math is not wrong. Uh, what would you think? How capoeira can help a person? Can you say, like, hey, capoeira can help you with this?
I think capoeira can help you just kind of go with it and be in the moment. There's um, And that's kind of a metaphor for life, but we have this amazing art form, and we practice certain moves, and sometimes we are, I don't know, afraid to sing a song or afraid to do a move that we
Yeah.
haven't mastered yet. But it just allows you to kind of trust your practice and go for it. And it allows you to not seek perfection so much, and just maybe seek the greatness of being in the moment.
Yeah, and enjoy the moment, because I mean, when you're in the holiday, you have to be in the moment because
Yeah.
you have to pay attention.
Yeah, Mr. Ming always tells us like be in the moment, and kind of took me a little while because I think it can mean a lot of different things for a lot of people. But once you've been practicing certain moves, or you've been really honing your art, at some point you just kind of have to trust yourself and be in the
Yeah.
moment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
And during those 14 years, when was that moment when you said like capoeira like click? Like you're like, oh man, I really like this. At the beginning, when when I started, I was
Hmm.
like, I like the moments and I like all this kind of stuff. But probably when I was like 5 years, probably after, is when
Oh
I
wow.
said like, I really like this. Like I kind of like understand like, yes, I really like to do this.
Man, I wish I would have felt like that in 5 years. No, it took me a while. I think it wasn't like I had a lot of like internal struggles in 2016 when I got my professor level.
Okay.
I felt like, oh my gosh, like why am I getting this high chord? And I just felt like the weight of the responsibility. And I kind of that's when I had to just kind of resolve it with myself. That it's not just me choosing to do capoeira, that capoeira has also chosen to live through me. So
Yeah.
even though it is a responsibility, it's also like I have been, it just kind of like it became my own thing. Like
Yeah.
capoeira is me as well. So
Yeah.
it was as simple as that sounds. It was just kind of like this, I don't know, like this philosophical thing that I kind of understood, and that's the moment that it clicked for me.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
um, I mean, not because the professor level means anything in particular to me, but because I just felt the responsibility like weigh very heavily. So I had to have these. I had to resolve this internal struggle somehow. I had to have these conversations with myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And right after that, I also ended up going to Brazil by myself.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, and I had been to Brazil before, but I think just choosing to kind of go on my own, and just kind of struggle through and go to different rodas, meet people, and I just found that to be like part of my training.
Okay.
Um, so it all kind of came together around the same time after I got my blue cord. Hmm.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. When do we go to Brazil?
I was in Brazil in 2017. Yeah, so the year
Oh, cool.
after I
Okay.
got my professor accord. Hmm.
Oh, that's really cool. Where do you go?
I ended up going to Rio
Nice.
for work actually, but then I stayed and for about a week and just did my own thing, and I went and I was in Bahia for about a week and a half.
That's really cool. I always wanted to go to Bahia.
You should.
Yeah, yeah. And in August, I'm going to Fortaleza. But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
but I
Been
do want to go to Brazil too. I mean to Bahia.
cool. Do
Yeah.
it.
And coming back to the subject for the music and all that stuff, and that connection with the person in the music, why do you think is really important for the capoeira community or the capoeira people, us, to learn the music and learn instruments? Well, what do you think is that important for you?
I mean, just to put it very simply, I don't think that you can fully say that you do capoeira unless you can connect with the music. I mean, they might sound a little bit harsh, maybe, but I mean, to me, it's true. I
Yeah,
think that if you like, if I'm having a bad day and I can't really like play very well, like I'll just go and I'll sit in the hut and play an instrument so I can feel connected.
yeah,
Um, I mean, so much is passed on, like not just like the songs itself, like the lyrics. There's a lot of history and there's a lot of stories being told. And capoeira comes from like an oral tradition.
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think like a lot of the like a lot of the energy is just really in the music. Like you feel the music and you play differently. Like the music commands it, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
The music also connects us to everybody else that's standing in the circle, and it connects us to I don't know, like to the way it was, like this was the way it was done before, you know, that same energy. The songs might have changed,
yeah,
the people playing the instruments might have changed, but it's that same energy, like the way you were saying, like you when you get those goosebumps,
yeah,
that it's that energy, and like you can't really feel that. Try playing without good music, try, you know, it's not the same. So you can't have a hada without good music. And
yeah, yeah. There were one of the interview I had where I was talking to him, and we were talking about like the force that capoeira has, and
mhm,
the energy sometimes is like so strong that make people move. You know, like that's why you see people jumping, and you don't get tired when you're in the hall when you have that connection.
mhm. Yeah, it allows you to connect to everything that capoeira is. I think if you if you can't connect with the music, it's a little bit limiting as a capoeirista.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any kind of like warm up for voice or anything that you can probably like people can take to start practicing music, or any tips for people to start practicing music?
You mean for the berimbau in particular, or singing?
Oh, singing, yeah, for your voice.
No, I'm not like a professionally trained singer or anything like
Okay.
that. But I mean, you definitely should. I don't believe in like screaming and like, you know, like straining your voice. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's good for you. I do some vocal exercises sometimes. But for the most part, just kind of, I would say maybe get to know your own voice a little bit.
Okay.
Sing in the shower, sing in the practice hall, sing with friends, do more music practice sessions at home. So you're comfortable with your voice, and you're comfortable with making certain mistakes, because like,
Yeah,
it's all practice. Like you can't expect to be like an amazing singer if you don't practice, just
that's
like
true. Yeah,
capoeira, right? But like I said, I think like a lot of people think that like unless you have like an amazing voice, you can't
yeah,
sing pod or something like that. And I think that's super wrong. Like this is not a singing contest, you know.
yeah. That's
But
true.
more some of the most like amazing musicians in capoeira are not necessarily like the most beautiful singers, you know. But I think
Yeah,
to me, it's about just kind of bringing that ashe. You know, you don't have to have the strongest voice, you don't have to have the loudest voice, you don't have to be, you know, Whitney Houston. It's
or
just,
Britney
it's
Spears.
about, yeah, no, it's about just being able to really transform and bring that energy, you know.
Yeah, be connected. Like you said at the beginning, like be connected with the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can you show us like how those vocal exercise that you do? Because I have a terrible voice. My voice, I try, but I see if I can practice that.
I don't really do vocal exercises, so it would be kind of hilarious if I started to do a vocal warm up right now in the podcast.
But that's the whole point. Like, and see, because I mean, because out there are a lot of people that like your voice. You know, like you sing pretty well. So
Mhm.
like
Thank
for
you.
a person like me, if you listen me if you listen to me, you're gonna start crying. So I want to fix
Aw.
it. You know, I sound like awful. So like, I want to get better on my voice. Or out there are people that they want to get better with their voice. About how
You
exercise
could
or
just do
anything.
scales. Like you could just go like, I make Quebrado do this all the time. No, you could just do the scale so you can hear the melody. You can yeah, you can just go like la 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 la, or
Oh,
la
cool.
la 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 la, like so you can hear where you are. And if you have like a little piano app, or if you have a piano and you can kind of hear where you're off, you might be just a little bit off, so um you can hear yourself, and you can be like, then you can start to kind of like hear if you are off, like you start to like trust your voice, you know.
Okay.
So I'm not a vocal coach by any
Yeah.
means, but I do have experience like playing piano when I was younger and being in
Nice.
choir and stuff. So I think I do understand like like I can hear where I'm off, when I am off. So that would be
Yeah,
the step.
that's awesome. And what about the timing? How would you catch that timing? In capoeira is a little tricky, right? But how will you catch that timing?
The timing. Well, capoeira music actually, it could be, it's not as difficult. It's like pretty, like it's like marching music. Dong
Okay.
ding dong dong ding dong dong, right? Or dong
Yeah.
ding dong ding. It's, you can march to it. So when we practice the berimbau, sometimes we do the rhythm. Let's say like a San Bento Grande rhythm, right? So ding dong dong, and then like we try to take a step at the same time. So we try to, you could
Oh, okay.
march to it, like dong ding step, dong ding step, dong
Oh,
ding
okay.
step,
I like
dong
that.
ding step. So that, first of all, like that allows you to do something else with your body while you're playing the berimbau. So eventually, because that will help you sing if somebody's not comfortable singing and playing the berimbau at the same time. But it also like kind of like it gives you that, it sets that pace, and
Yeah.
that's what you're going to be listening to also. Like, so if you hear, sometimes like you see capoeiristas playing a specific rhythm, and they are like tapping their foot, dong
I do
ding
that, yeah.
dong ding dong ding dong ding.
That's true. Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, like, so I'm tapping my foot sometimes, and I know when I'm off, whether it's the song or the berimbau. So the foot really helps you. I mean, and I think like when you're playing like samba or any of the Afro Brazilian dances and stuff,
Yeah.
that's kind of a more difficult rhythm. But capoeira is a very regular rhythm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
So my last episode, um, how I like to teach berimbau is first with making the sound with mouth. So it's like exactly like you just did, like
Hmm.
ding don don ding don don, for people to like recognize the sound and understand the
Yeah,
timing and all stuff.
that's a great practice.
How do you teach the berimbau for people to understand those stuff?
No, and I think that's a great way also. Before we do any variations, like I think it's useful even like for me to try to do it in my head and sing it. If I can sing it, I mean that doesn't necessarily mean I can do it on the berimbau, but at least like you're recognizing the sound, right?
Yeah.
Um, the first step, like you mean for beginners, how to teach the
Uh huh.
berimbau.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, if I had to teach a total beginner, I mean, first of all, they need to be interested in the berimbau because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a simple instrument, has basically like two notes and a bus,
Yeah.
right? And then a couple like kind of like half notes, right? But you, I just make them play the open note, which is the easiest,
Okay.
and then the high note, right? Dong ding, and just get those three notes and the bus like really clean, because that's gonna take a lot of mechanics, right? With the finger,
Yeah.
you have to get used to it. And when you get to that, then or we kind of like, at least I teach them to recognize when it's not clean. So they
Okay.
get those three notes, and they work with that. And then we just do like a very simple rhythm, like an Angola rhythm or São Bento Grande or São Bento Pequeno de Angola rhythm.
Okay. Which one is your favorite rhythm?
Favorite rhythm?
Yeah.
Um, any of the Angola rhythms. I mean,
Okay.
if I'm playing the gunga, I usually like to play the Angola dong dong ding.
Okay.
Because in my school, usually the gunga will play that rhythm. I know
Okay.
it's not the case in all schools, but so if I have the gunga, usually that's the rhythm that I would play automatically.
Oh, cool, cool. And the from all the instruments, which one is your favorite?
Um, well, I had a measure that was like my favorite for a long time. But right now my gunga sounds really good.
Yeah.
So I like playing the gunga. But if I'm gonna be doing a lot of variations, like like a very yummy viola, I mean, so I like all three. It just depends.
Yeah.
I mean, the major can be a little bit boring. So if I'm gonna be doing, I mean, not boring, but
Yeah,
if
yeah, no.
if I want to do variations, or if I want to practice variations,
Yeah.
I'll get on the viola.
Same,
Um,
same.
the gunga has much more responsibilities. I think like
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah,
the
leading.
yeah, and it has like that bass. So if you mess up, they'll hear you. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least
so
with the viola, you kind of like can mask it there and kind of like play a little bit and if you messed up.
maybe, right? Yeah, but I mean, I like all three.
Yeah.
And I like to also be on the measure when somebody that plays really well or who's bidding by I really admire gets in the viola. Sometimes I just want to be in the measure right next to them and just hear what they do and just keep
That's
the
awesome.
rhythm. Hmm.
Yeah, my favorite that always since I started capoeira was the viola. It's just the sound is so unique. I love the viola.
Yeah. If
And
I'm gonna play by myself, like I mean, it just depends.
yeah,
If I'm gonna play with somebody else and I want to practice variations on the berimbau, like of course the viola, but I do like the bass of the gunga.
nice.
Yeah.
And now, which one is your favorite song? Let you say like, oh, I love this song. I can sing this song each every hoda.
um, let's see. Every hada. I don't know. I have several favorites, but
I'm putting
you
you in the spot right now.
no, and also you're telling me like pick one. I mean, that's kind of hard, but if I had to pick a couple like songs that like when I was first learning the berimbau,
Okay,
I learned like because I was struggling a little bit because like it's uncomfortable with the pinky and stuff. I liked it, but I mean it wasn't like smooth. Like okay, I'm just gonna do it. I love this, and I did it. It wasn't like
okay,
that. It was like a year where I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. It's hurting my
yeah,
pinky. But that I do remember the moment that I was playing the Angola rhythm, and then I was singing at the same time. And the
okay.
first song that I sang and played the berimbau well at the same time was Berama yo yo
Oh,
Berama
cool.
yeah yeah.
Okay,
Just, the melody is not super complicated, so I had
yeah,
picked that one, and so I will always remember that song as like the one of my first song that I was able to kind of play on my own. I was in my room practicing the berimbau, and I just did it one day. So I was like, okay, so that I have a special place for that song because it's easy, everybody loves it, and it was the first song that I kind of like, it allowed me to practice more.
yeah, yeah. Has a really nice like contagious.
Oh,
Uh,
that song, yeah. I mean, that
yeah,
song. I don't get tired of that song, and everybody sings it. Like every hada, you'll hear it. But I love that
yeah.
song.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, since you love it so much, would you sing it for us?
Like a cappella, or do you want me to
Yeah.
grab an instrument?
Oh, how are you on it? How are you on it?
Okay, good, pandero. Just Verama.
Yeah. Or
All
whatever
right,
song. That one. Then you can add any other song that you want.
all right. That's too loud. We have the
No,
pandero
no,
next to
it's
it.
perfect.
Oh, Verama, yo yo, Verama, ya ya, Verama, yo yo, Verama, ya ya. Oh, Verama, yo yo, Verama, ya ya, Verama, yo yo, Verama, ya ya, Verama, Verama, yo yo, Verama, 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 ya ya, 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 Verama, yo yo, Verama, ya ya.
Oh, hey, that's really cool. That's nice. That's really cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Quebrado, for the pandero.
nice. Thank you,
He's good.
Quebrado. Thank you. That was awesome. That was really cool. See, like we a lot of people are gonna love your voice. I'm 100% sure
Thank
for that.
you.
For
I think
sure.
we all should love our voice, whether we're like the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
singers or not. And I mean, I did not like hearing my own voice either. At the beginning, I was kind of uncomfortable, but I think like the more you kind of just like you're okay with your own voice. This is not the what are those singing contests that we have? The
Yeah.
This is not the voice. You don't have to be the best singer. You just need
True.
to, you just need to sing it
Embrace it.
with your heart, and
Yeah.
just bring it. So
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you say that the feeling comfortable with your own voice, because after I started a podcast, I have to listen to myself. I have to
yeah.
like I'm gonna listen. I see how I sound. At the
Hmm.
beginning, I was like, I don't know.
But now you
But then,
got used to it, right?
yeah, exactly. Then I think after that, I can sing louder in the hoda. So I, like you said, I feel comfortable. I feel more comfortable with my voice, which
Cool.
is that's a really good point that I didn't ever realize. And so you said, to like wrap it up a little bit. Um, we thank you so much again for sharing the music. And what events does Capoeira Batuque has for this year?
What events?
Yeah, yeah, including the one that just give us again the information.
Well, Capoeira Batuque will have a big bachizado this June. It's our 30th. And
Wow.
then, yeah, so 30 years of being in Los Angeles. And then we normally have like a Zumbi day sometime in the winter,
Okay.
uh, which coincides with the Zumbi day in Brazil. So we usually have a small event, like an open hada. It's like less. It's not as like too much. It's not like a huge event like a bachizado, but we don't
Okay.
really invite guests or anything, but we try to make it more about that around the theme of liberation and just what capoeira stood and continues to stand for.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
is that the only event that those two only events?
For Batuque, usually like at the main studio, those are the main events. Now we have certain branches that have smaller bachizados. Like I'm sure that Muito Tempo will have a bachizado. I think his
Oh,
is
nice.
September. Quebrado. I'm not really sure when they do theirs, but they will have a bachizado, and I know Contramestre Versátil has a bachizado,
Nice.
like because they have their own group, so they'll have smaller bachizados.
That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
awesome. If wasn't that expensive for me to travel to California, I would be there like every month, because I
No,
know it's a lot of events there in
yeah, we
California.
have a lot of capoeira here. Hmm.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. That's my goal with the capoeira here in the Midwest. That hopefully we can get a lot of capoeira events almost every month here in the Midwest. And tell us again your social medias.
It's an Instagram. You can find me at mostly mauve. Mauve is in the color, and I will maybe change it to something capoeira related. But I kind
Nice.
of like to be a little incognito. But anyway, so that's my Instagram.
Nice. And where your Facebook?
My Facebook, you can just type my full name, Saehee,
Okay.
Saehee, and my last name is Kim.
Nice, nice. Just in case people want to do like capoeira music workshop, they can contact you or find you there.
Yeah, yeah, and I am posting much more like music related stuff on my Instagram,
Nice.
and I will, yeah, so definitely like follow and share music that you're working on, and that's how I've been also able to find new songs that people are doing. So Instagram has been really cool for all of that, like networking with capoeiristas around the world.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I think if you share those kind of stuff, people can get awareness of that you seem pretty good. Because I think people will take value of those kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we have also some really cool trips coming up, and we'll be documenting some of that
Oh, for
on my
sure.
Instagram, and also Quebrado, who's much more on Instagram than I am. But we are both going. Well, this coming weekend, tomorrow, we're going to be going to the Vagiando and the Bachisado for Mestrita Borap in the Bay in San
Oh,
Francisco.
nice.
And later in July, we'll also be visiting the Capoeira group in Beirut, Lebanon. So that'll be
Oh,
really,
awesome.
yeah. So I mean, if you guys, just follow, and we have such an amazing community of capoeiristas all over the world. It'd be really cool to
Yes.
connect with you guys.
Yes. No, that's my goal with the podcast. Try to connect with everyone from everywhere. Like doesn't matter where they are or. timing, I don't care. If it's capoeira, bring it on.
Cool, cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for
Of
sharing all
course.
your experience
Yep.
and
And
your
and
music.
yeah, thanks for interviewing me. That's really cool, and I hope that you keep doing the work that you're doing out there, and that capoeira grows in the Midwest as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for your time. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, cool. Ashe. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao, ciao. All right. I just want to share something with you really quick. If you are listening to this and you teach or assist to a capoeira class, or even if you have an event coming up, I want to help you. I want to help our capoeira community because there's nothing more important to me than help our capoeira community. Because classes are more fun when there's more people to share this sachet, this energy so awesome that capoeira has. So I want to share your class or event in our podcast. So reach out to us with school name or any information on how people can find you and send it to our email podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. That's podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. And I will share that information here in our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you like this podcast. If you did, take a screenshot, send it to someone that knows about capoeira or of course wants to learn. Share it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everywhere. And help us grow this community with a subscribe. Thank you so much. Peace.